Hi Paparazzi, my name's Scott and today I will be presenting on your online store. So to begin, what is your online store? Well, in addition to the mobile point of sale capabilities that come with Premier, you also have an online store that allows your customers to shop your inventory anytime, day or night. It's important to note that this is different than your replicated website where customers would be shopping directly with Paparazzi and they would be fulfilling those orders on your behalf. In your online store, customers will be shopping your personal inventory and you would be fulfilling those orders. And it's also important to note that this feature is completely free. So here are a few settings that we're going to go through today during this presentation: turning on your online store, the personalized cart timer, consultant cost reimbursement, local pickup, and rewards. So to begin, the first thing we need to do is turn on your online store. This can be done by following the settings on screen. And if you do not follow these steps and turn on your online store, it will be off by default. So make sure to follow these steps. When your online store is off, it will be in preview mode, which would mean customers can see all of the items in your online store, but they can't purchase anything. So again, make sure to follow these steps and toggle your online store to on. Next, we need to set up the personalized cart timer. This setting allows you to control exactly how long customers can reserve items in their carts. If you've never personalized this setting, it will be set to the maximum amount of time, which is 7 days. However, it can be configured down as low as 15 minutes in 15-minute increments. So you'll have days, hours, and 15-minute increments where you can configure this setting according to your preferences. It's also important to note that this is a cart level setting, not an item level setting. So the cart timer is going to reset when any item is added to that cart. It's not going to be dependent on any singular item. So for example, if someone had a 2-hour cart timer and a customer were to put an item in their cart, that 2 hours would start. If an hour later they put another item in their cart, that 2 hours would restart when that next item was added. Also, it's important to note for the personalized cart timer that this is linked to reply to buy. So if you're utilizing reply to buy, make sure that you set your personalized cart timer at least as long as you're live, because customers will be adding things to carts as they're claiming them during your live. And if you have it set too short, then those items would be dropping off before they could check out. So make sure to keep that cart timer longer than your lives, but not too long. This is definitely a balance within this setting where you don't want items falling off too quickly, but you also don't want items being reserved for too long so that other customers can't shop items that are in certain customer carts. So make sure to configure this setting according to your preferences. The next setting to be aware of is consultant cost reimbursement. And what this setting does is determine whether you are going to recoup the sales tax that you pay when you purchase wholesale orders while selling, both in person, in your online store, and when creating invoices. So as a consultant, you may get several questions. What is this fee? Why are you charging me for this? And on every receipt, there is a help bubble that's going to explain exactly what this fee is to your customers. Customers may also ask if this is the same as sales tax, and it is technically and legally not sales tax being charged. That was collected and remitted by Paparazzi when you purchased at wholesale. So this is going to be a separate fee that allows you to recoup that cost. You can set this setting by following the instructions on screen, and we will go through all of these settings here in a moment in the app. But remember to configure this setting if you want to recoup your sales tax while selling. The next setting is local pickup. So this is going to allow you to offer local pickup to customers while they shop only within your online store. So this does not apply to invoicing. Within this setting, you can set an address and pickup instructions for your customers. When they check out, they will have this option. And then within that email confirmation after checking out, they would receive all of that information. The next feature that we are going to talk about is rewards. And this setting is discussed more comprehensively in the invoicing and fulfillment training. that is also in this training library. But what's important to note in relation to your online store is that purchases in your online store can count towards earning rewards, but customers cannot redeem their rewards within your online store. This is very important. Only you, the consultant, have the ability to manage rewards, what's being given away, and when. So again, the customer cannot redeem rewards in your online store. Only you can decide when those are being redeemed. One last thing to note with rewards is that they are based off of distinct email addresses. So you may have a customer who thinks that they have more rewards than is showing up. This may be because they checked out with two separate email addresses, and those rewards are stored in two different accounts. And as the consultant, you can manually combine these rewards, but you would have to go to one customer, decrement that reward, go to the other profile that customer used, and add the reward there. It is possible, but it is a manual process. So make sure to know that while managing your rewards. Now we're going to hop over to settings within the app, and I'm going to show you how to configure everything that I just discussed. So first, we are going to go to settings by selecting the three horizontal lines in the top left-hand corner, selecting settings. And the first setting that we discussed was turning on your online store. So you're going to scroll down until you see your online store, then settings. You're going to go down to online store open, and you're going to make sure that this is toggled on. That'll allow your customers to shop your inventory in your online store. You'll also notice that a link to your online store is stored right below these settings. This can be very useful if you're ever looking for that link to your online store. The next setting that we discussed was the cart timer. So you can go to edit on the right-hand side next to cart timer, select that, and now you'll have dials for days, hours, and minutes where you can set that cart timer. Remember, it's a maximum of 7 days and a minimum of 15 minutes. We've seen consultants with cart timers anywhere between a day or two and around 30 minutes. Again, it's a balance. You don't want items dropping off too quickly, but you don't want items being softly reserved in their carts by customers, because then other customers can't shop them. So make sure to configure this setting somewhere in the middle that makes sense for your business, right? So now we're going to cancel that. The next setting that we're going to go through is local pickup. You can find this setting by finding shipping under store settings and selecting edit next to shipping. You then can scroll down and you will see order pickup. You can enable this setting here with this toggle on the right-hand side. You can then set an address with the address line, city, state, and zip code, and add pickup instructions for local pickup as well. Again, these will all be displayed on the email confirmation to your customers once they check out if they select that they would like local pickup. And so that's how you configure all of the settings that we've discussed. We're going to hop back over to the presentation, and I'm going to go through some features of your online store now that can be utilized in order to personalize your online store and create a more unique shopping experience for your customers. Before we get into any of those features, though, you're probably wondering how items are sorted within your online store. So within your online store, when you look at all your inventory, featured items will be displayed first, which we're going to get into featured in a second. But any items that are featured will be displayed at the top of your inventory. Then items are going to be displayed in the order in which they were added to your inventory. So new items to your inventory are going to be displayed higher up. And this is a big distinction. Items that are new to your inventory, not just new in general. So there could be an item from 5 years ago, but if you just added it to your inventory, it's going to be higher up in your online store. In order to navigate all of these items, it's also useful to use the filters, which can be seen on the left-hand side here. You can filter items by which items are featured. You can filter by type, and you can filter by color. Type and color are defined by Paparazzi. However, there are some ways to customize in which how items are organized if these types and colors don't fit your liking, and we'll go over that later with collections. But just know in this screen specifically, you can only filter by defined types and defined colors from Paparazzi. So the first feature we're going to go over is piece visibility. This is an item level feature that allows you to control whether or not a piece is visible and therefore able to be shopped in your online store. And so this is controlled at the item level with the eye icon that is displayed on screen right here. By toggling between the top and bottom of those eye icons, you can control whether an item is visible or not. This will affect whether customers can shop that individual item within your online store. I should note also you can toggle piece visibility while receiving items in as well as within your inventory. If you'd like to control piece visibility more broadly or at a higher level, there's also an inventory setting that can be very handy. So this setting is going to allow you to control whether pieces will be visible or not visible by default when they are added to your inventory. So when they're received or scanned to be added in, or using the inventory import tool. This setting will decide whether they're visible or not by default. And in using this setting, you really need to decide how you'd like to run your business. So some consultants like to keep this setting on, and any item that they add to their inventory will then be able to be shopped online, and it's very easy. However, a lot of customers consultants like to keep this setting off as well. And the reason for this is Misty will say that a lot of consultants should use the process pre-claim, live, recap, premiere. And so during those first 3 steps of that process, pre-claims, going live with pieces, and doing a recap at the end of the week, you may not want your pieces visible in your online store. So in order to do this, you would keep this setting defaulted off. So any items added to your inventory would not be visible in your online store. You could then go through this process during the week and have items pre-claimed, have them bought or purchased on your live, do your recap. Only after doing all of those 3 steps, you could then make pieces visible in your online store after sending the invoices. So pieces aren't being purchased in your online store as you're selling them on a live, right? You want to be able to control that doesn't happen. The next feature that we are going to discuss is featuring pieces. So as I mentioned during the sort order and category slide, the first items that will be displayed in your online store are featured pieces. So when you feature a piece, you're boosting its visibility and making it displayed first within your online store. This also will make it displayed first in your inventory within the Premier app as well. And you can control this feature by toggling between the filled star and the non-filled star, as you can see on screen here. By featuring pieces, you also allow customers to filter by what pieces are being featured. And you can easily manage this setting within inventory or while receiving new items by selecting the icon, as I said. If items are not featured, remember they're going to be displayed in the order in which they were added to your inventory. And a few tips for using the featured pieces feature would be you could do your own daily releases of vintage pieces. So your customer is not going to know that these pieces aren't new. If they were added to your inventory a long time ago and they were further down that sort order in the shop all section of your online store, by featuring those pieces, you could move them to the top, increase their visibility, and create a more unique shopping experience for your customers. Another idea of how you could use this feature would be at the end of your live, say something like, I really have to go, but I have about 10 more pieces that I wanted to show you. They'll be featured in my online store. And then all of the customers in your live could navigate to your online store and filter by featured, or just look right at the top and see all of those featured pieces. So this is a very useful feature if you utilize it properly. The next feature that we're going to go through is custom collections, which is a very new and exciting feature, I should add. And what is a custom collection? Well, a custom collection is a curated group of related items created by you, the consultant, that will be displayed in your online store. And so any collection that you create will be displayed in the navigation of your online store under collections. You then can see a list of all the collections that you have built in the past displayed for your customers. And consultants are going to create collections for a variety of different themes. Some of the ideas we've seen thus far include new arrivals, seasonal collections, holidays. There's really no limit to how you can utilize this feature, and we encourage you to utilize custom collections to create a more unique online store experience as you requested in the past. A couple important notes about custom collections is featured items will still appear at the top of your collections. Online store navigation will be automatically updated, as I said, to include all of the collections you create. However, if you would like the navigation to not be updated, you can toggle a collection to VIP. And what this means is that a collection will not be within the navigation of your online store and will only be able to be shopped by customers who have an exclusive link to that collection. You as the consultant will retrieve that link from the collection after it's saved in the inventory tab in your app, which I will show here in a moment. And I would encourage you to utilize VIP collections to create to create some exclusivity for certain items. Any items that are in VIP collections are not going to be able to be shopped in the rest of your online store. They will be exclusively within that collection. So it allows you to offer certain items to specific customers, which is very interesting and creates some excitement within your store. So now I'm going to hop over to the app and I'm going to show you exactly how you can create a custom collection. So in order to create a collection, we're going to go to that menu in the top left-hand corner. We're going to navigate to inventory. Then from there, we're going to select collections in this top bar. And at the bottom, we can see create collection. From here, we can add a collection name. We can make sure that this collection is enabled so that it's able to be shopped. While creating a collection, you can also set a start and end date. So for example, if you wanted to create a Christmas in July collection, if you were to create this at the end of June, you could set the start date for July 1st at 12 a.m. and the end date for July 31st at 11:59 p.m. And then that collection would exclusively be available during July. So these are very useful features in controlling exactly when that collection is able to be shopped. And I should add, while creating collections, this start date field will be automatically updated depending on when you're creating the collection. However, you can update it to be later if you wouldn't like this collection shoppable for a little while. There's a lot of flexibility with how you utilize these two features. Here is the VIP collection toggle. So again, if I didn't want this collection to be displayed in the navigation in my online store, I would toggle this on and then could share a link that would be generated right here under collection link to my customers. So quickly we'll create a collection. We'll call this collection Weiru. We'll add a couple items. Let's just add these 3. Click done. And when I click done, save collection, that collection is now saved. So now I can share this collection link here to any of my customers that will link them directly to that collection in my online store. Because this collection is in VIP, it will also be displayed in the navigation. If it was VIP, I would just need to make sure to share this link with any customers that I wanted to be able to shop this specific collection. Okay, we're now going to go through the inventory a little more broadly before I move on. I discussed featuring pieces and I discussed piece visibility. Those can be seen here within the My Inventory tab. These icons here are how you would change piece visibility and feature pieces. So if I wanted to change the visibility of this piece, for example, I could select this icon. This piece would then no longer be visible in my online store. If I wanted to make this piece featured and visible, I could select the featured icon, and now that it's filled, I would know this piece is featured and will be displayed at the top of my online store. And so anytime you make a change within your inventory, you need to make sure to click save as well, or these changes won't be saved or reflected in the visibility or featured settings for your online store. So I'll click save. That piece will now be featured and displayed at the top of my online store. You can notice that this piece is featured and is displayed at the top of my inventory as well. Within receiving, it's the same. So I'll go to that top menu. If I select receiving and select any wholesale order, you'll see all of the individual items within that order. This is a small one, but you can affect the piece visibility and feature specific pieces within the receiving functionality of the app as well. Okay, so now I'm going to move back to my presentation. We're going to continue moving forward with custom bundles. This is another new and exciting feature that has been added to Premiere. This feature allows the consultant to create custom sets that they would like to sell within their online store. So a product bundle is going to include up to 20 items that are grouped together and sold as a single unit. And so bundles are going to allow you to create unique sets and a more personalized shopping experience for your customers by putting together specific items and selling them together. Common bundles will be bracelet stacks. It could be a complete look of your own creation. There's really no limit to how you can utilize this feature as well. I should note that in the example I mentioned, a bracelet stack, if you wanted to include multiple of the same item, you can do that within a bundle. Just know that the bundle quantity on hand is going to be determined by the items within that bundle. And so what I mean is, if I had a bracelet stack that had 2 of the same bracelet and I had 10 quantity on hand of that bracelet, then the system would automatically calculate that I have 5 of that bundle on hand. If I were to sell one of those bracelets individually, though, I would only have 9 of them left. And because this bundle has 2 of that bracelet within it, there would only be 4 of that bundle on hand that would automatically be calculated. And so now I'm going to hop back over to the app and we can create a bundle together, and I can show you exactly how to configure those settings and create a bundle. So we're going to navigate to the top 3 horizontal lines in the corner. We're going to go down to inventory, and we are going to select bundles in the center of the top bar here. From here, it's similar to creating a collection. We're going to select create bundle at the bottom. We then have the opportunity to include a bundle name. In fact, it's required, as you can see with that asterisk, with up to 50 characters. You can include a description of the bundle with up to 1,000 characters if you'd like. Here's a share icon that allows you to share this bundle or a link to this bundle within your online store if you choose, after this bundle has been saved, of course. There is then a field for item number and claim code. If you're wondering about item number and claim code more in depth, I would encourage you to watch the inventory best practices training that's also within the training library. Here, you can then affect bundle visibility by using this toggle here. You can feature a bundle with this toggle. And lastly, you can control whether items are available separately online. And so this setting is going to, like it says, control whether the items within the bundle are available separately for purchase within your online store. But I should be clear, this setting only controls whether these items are available separately online, not while invoicing or selling in person. While invoicing and selling in person, you will always be able to sell an individual item from a bundle by itself. This setting only controls if it's visible and available in your online store. And then lastly, you can add some items to that bundle. So we'll create another bundle. We'll call it Wayru again. We'll add some items to that bundle. So as I mentioned earlier, you can add multiple of the same item by selecting these pluses. I'll click add items, and then we can save that bundle. And so now this bundle has been saved and it would be available for purchase in your online store. A couple other notes. If any item within a bundle sells out, it will no longer be available for purchase. As if I go back here, it's going to show available bundles. A bundle will only be available if all of the items within the bundle have a quantity in stock. It's also important to note that within a bundle, if I go into a bundle, that it's going to show the quantity on hand of each individual item within the bundle if you're wondering about that and it's not making sense to you within this list view here. Okay, so moving on in the presentation, we're going to move on to sharing. So sharing is another useful feature within your online store. You can select either of the icons that are shown on screen. It's going to depend on the system of the device that you're using. So for iOS, it's going to be the box with the upward arrow. For Android, it's going to be the three dots connected, the less than sign. By selecting this icon with any individual item, you can use the native sharing functionality of your device to share a link to that item, either in messages or any app that's going to be downloaded on that device, or you can just copy the link and paste it into a Facebook group, an email. This is a really useful feature for sharing individual items. And as I mentioned, you can also share bundles. A recent enhancement to this feature is that we've added preview images for those specific items, which make these links look a lot more visually appealing. For bundles, it will show up to 4 product images of items in that bundle, but obviously less if there's not 4 items in that bundle. Now we're going to move on to out of stock, which this is one of the most common questions that Paparazzi gets is, why is an item showing out of stock even though I have 2 of them right here? That can't be right. Well, your inventory is managed in a way that you could have 2 quantity of an item physically in your hands, but it's showing out of stock because 2 customers have that item in their cart in your online store. And so this is another reason that it's so important to configure your personalized cart timer. If customers have items in their carts, those items are softly allocated. It's called a soft allocation to that customer and are not available in your online store for purchase by another customer. It's important to note that invoicing will always trump a soft allocation of a piece to a customer's cart. So if a customer has an item in their cart and it's showing out of stock and another customer were to come to you to want to purchase that item, first of all, I would take the opportunity to sell in the moment. So a sale now is always better than the possibility that a customer checks out in your online store. But just know that when you create an invoice for that item, it will trump the customer who had put that item in their cart, and it will automatically remove that item from their cart when you do that. The next setting or feature we are going to discuss is free shipping. And this feature allows you to set the dollar amount at which customers will receive free shipping, which is discussed more in depth during the invoicing and fulfillment training. What matters in relation to your online store is that as customers shop, a banner will be displayed at the top of the screen telling them exactly how much they have until they earn free shipping. It will also alert them once they've earned free shipping if they've purchased enough items. So this is a very useful feature in that if a customer sees that they have $8 left until they get free shipping, they will obviously be enticed to add one more item and get that free shipping. So make sure to configure this setting and check out that invoicing and fulfillment training. It's also important to note that this setting controls both invoicing and your online store as well. The last feature I'm going to discuss is the Join My Team and customer registration tabs at the top of your online store that are displayed in navigation. Customers can select the Join My Team icon. It's a little bit cut off on the screen, but you can kind of see it. They would then be redirected to your replicated website where the enrollment process lives, with your consultant information already loaded in as the sponsor. So all they would have to do is enter their information and they would have been recruited with you as their sponsor. Customers can also select register at the top to save their information within your Premier store so that they can store things like rewards, as I mentioned earlier. A quick tip on getting customer info. Many of our consultants who utilize Facebook like to set up #new, where anywhere on their business page, there's an automation that when a customer comments #new, they're going to receive a registration link that takes them to the page you can see here on the screen. I'm no expert in Facebook and don't know exactly everything about configuring this automation, but if you scan the QR code that is seen on screen in the bottom left-hand corner here, it will take you to a Meta article that would allow you to configure this automation within your Facebook business page. And then lastly, some FAQs. Can bundles be added to a collection? Unfortunately, they cannot yet, but this will be available soon in a later release. Many consultants will ask us, how do I add my social media links? Because they are displayed in the footer of your online store with icons for each social media site. They are displayed in your Premier settings as well if you go to My Social Media Links, but they cannot be edited. They can just be tested. So if you would like to edit these, you need to go to your back office, profile dropdown, and My Social Networks. From there, you can then edit your social media links, and those will all be loaded over to the Premier app in your online store. And lastly, can I customize my online store? Yes, you can leverage bundles, leverage collections, and the My Story feature, which also has to be edited in the back office. This My Story feature is going to include a photo and a description of your story. If you edit both of these in the back office, they will also be loaded over to your online store, which allows more customization and a more unique shopping experience for your customers.